Well, it's like we got a terrible show tonight. The Godfather Soldiers Swimming. Name my top tonight is called Horrible in Houston. So much to say before I do, I'm gonna show a little bit of music. I'm gonna show. I will open up the review with the theme from the TV sitcom Perfect Strangers because today is a happy birthday to to this actor. Um, I'm gonna tell you about mentioning my wrestling history and birthdays. So stick around right back and get the music playing. I'm gonna play the theme from Perfect Strangers. Nothing can stop me now. Because today is a happy birthday to someone, this great legend, which I'm gonna mention in my history and birthdays. So stick around right back. Yeah, that was the thing for Perfect Strangers, all you just heard, because today is a happy 72nd birthday to this legend. Became a household name on ABC, which I'm going to mention in my wrestling history and birthdays today. By the way, I got some shocking news to all of you before I do. Devil Lee Chase, a really good actress, died today at the age of 35. And best known for Lilo and Stitch in the Ring, where Lilo and Stitch being the voice of Lilo, and playing the voice of the ghost from the horror movie The Ring, which also in the sequel also as well. I mean, I don't know what's going on with 2026 with all these deaths, and let's all pray for actor Corey Feldman. He has a pancreas, so hope he gets well soon. By the way. Oh, she wasn't. Devil Lee Chase. She wasn't in the sequel. My mistake. Okay, we open backstage where Moore and Jackass Freeman and the Don Callis are standing by. We hear from Moore and Jackass Freeman first, who has looked at us as world title before addressing his enemy as challengers Eddie Kingston's style. He respects Kevin Knight's fire, brushes past Andrade El Idolo's recent challenges, and mocks Swerve Strickland, Will Ospreay, and Kenny Omega for honoring in the Mark Briscoe. He says the rest of the names he listed are top acts, but everyone feels just bad for Mark because his brother died. None of his prayers become champion will come to pass after Forbidden Door. He tells Cal's to announce the members of Don Cal DCM Moran Jackass Freeman, Kevin Knight, Kyle Fletcher, Jake Doyle, Kazuki Okada, and Andrade. Guess El Diablo's not too happy about this, saying MJF thinks about Andrade will join him. Well, Cal's works to defuse the situation and walks off aside from a slightly dejected Beretta before we head to ringside commentary runs down the line for the show. I saw also ringside are the premier athletes who came to the ring looking for a match and sees it. Who came to the ring looking for a match. Sees Tony Khan has one of them. Kenny Omega making his entrance first. We find out that this is a singles contest with Tony Ness to take on the best bout machine as Omega gets to ringside to get this match underway. Kenny Omega versus Tony Nese. Omega gets distracted early by Mark Sterling, allowing Nese to take control, but not for long. As Kenny turns around with a Snapdragon suplex followed by a V-trigger, Sterling tries to distract him again, but gets knocked down to the floor before Omega slams on a one-ring angel on Nese for the win. We're going to review pinfall Kenny Omega. Omega gets a microphone after the match, but can't get a word in before TMDK make their way out. Xavier Bray is flanked by Mikey Nichols and Bad Dude Tito. As we head to the ring, with Kenny Omega leaving the ring rather than to get to confrontation with his opponent for Forbidden Door. The Young Bucks and Jack Perry come out to even their numbers as Sabre gets the back microphone and tosses it toward Omega. Kenny grabs the mic and grip and speaks. And he's saying he doesn't know what TMK stands for, and neither do they. He addresses the match at Forbidden Door, saying he knows it will be nice for Sabre to get a notch in the win for Calm against one of his best, staying as Sabre's guys friends with him, and Kenny has his as well. Let's keep it up a 1v1 at the pipe for now, until video do. TNK don't have a catchphrase, we know, but to them he says goodnight, mwah, and a goodbye, bang. Omega's music hits. We get a look back at Collision Summer Blockbuster, where the Dogs took out the Young Bucks for the win. We'll hear from them later tonight. We also still have the Women's Owen Hart Tournament semifinal coming up, along with a face-to-face between Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland ahead of their Women's Owen Hart Tournament final round of Forbidden Door. Speaking of pay-per-view, out our main event tonight is a 12-man tag match between Warren Jackass Freeman's Mark Briscoe squad ahead of their steel cage match for Forbidden Door. With that, Dynamite still rolls on. Death Riders make their way out first, coming through the crowd to get ready for our opening match. Out next is Rodeo as we get this match underway. Here we go. Death Riders, John Moxley and Daniel Garcia versus Rodeo, Brody King and Bandito. Bandito and Garcia start the match with an exchange of offensive. That Bandito ends up winning, taking Garcia to the mat before Daniel turns it around to send the luchador down as well. This ends in a standoff before Garcia mocks Bandito's pose and cuts to the Ring of Honor World Champ off doing the same, before sending him down with a shoulder tackle. Bandito fights back with a drop kick on Garcia, bringing him into the corner for a tag to Brody. They double team with an assisted suplex, sending Bandito crashing to Daniel, where he hops back to stop the pair from doing the Macarena. Garcia shows off his own moves, but that takes chops from the former tag champs. Mox reaches out for a tag and gets it, standing across from the Kings as he mouths off at him. They go nose to nose before trading forearm strikes, leading to an exchange of chops. Seriously, call an early Christmas for these two. But these two are trading hard strikes back and forth until Moxley is riled up by a chop from Brody. Mox responds with a poke to the eye and the gang to gain the advantage, following up with a bite to the hand before hitting the ropes. But King cuts him off, forcing him to the outside. Bandito goes for the assist and lands on a dive on both opponents, sending them to the floor as we go to a break. Ad break on HBO Max. Back in the ring, King lands in some hard shots on Max in the corner before taking Garcia away with one last one. With one last one. Mox drops to the mat from the impact, using the ropes to get back to his feet, only for Brody to send him back to the ropes. A trade strikes again until King blocks the lariat and goes for a powerbomb. Mox works free to take him down with a cutter, but King is back on his feet already before John lays him down with a lariat. Tag made to Bandito and Garcia. Ladder being launched into the corner. The belly suplex Bandito as we see Mox chatting with Shafir at ringside. Garcia leaves the ring, getting a breather as Brody goes for a dive, but is cut off when Marina stands in the way. She lets out a bark at Brody, who responds in kind. This goes back and forth, proving to be a distraction as Mox comes at King with a dive through the ropes. He lays into Brody for some more, landing a power driver onto the floor, leaving Bandito looking for revenge, only to be sent to the barricade by Garcia. Mox brings Brody back into the ring before making a tag to Garcia, who drops King's hard to the mat for a 2 count. Lands in a few more shots on King to keep him down before taking in John, who brings him back into his feet, before landing some shots to bring him in the corner. He digs his nails into the back of Brody before setting him up on the turnbuckle for a suplex off the top rope. Continue to keep the pressure on King as we go to an ad break. Ad break on HBO Max. We just came back as Bandito gets knocked off the apron by Mox, leading to a tag to Garcia to keep things going. Death Riders go back and forth on this until King lays them out with a double lariat followed by a tag to Bandito. Tornado by Luchador takes the Continental Champion out, and the press slam sends Garcia on top of Mox. Garcia leaves the ring as Mox goes after Bandito, but he gets sent into the ropes, where he gets cut off by Bandito with a 21 plex attempt. Mox goes for a delayed vertical suplex on a Luchador, who counters it with one of his own before Shafir slides into the ring with the ref distracted She goes for a suplex on Bandito, but Bandito hoists her up for a delayed vertical suplex before dropping her to the mat. Garcia comes back on the tag, but gets taken out by Bandito, only for Mox to break the pin. Brody takes Mox out of the ring as Bandito goes for an inside Clario, but Gargano counters for one of his own for a 2 count. Bandito sets him up for a 21 plex, but as Brody dives through the ropes to keep Mox away, and this gets Brody the win. Win by pinfall, Brody. The pair celebrates as we cut to backstage where we hear from the pro crowd. Kyle Fletcher and Kazuchi Okada. Kyle Fletcher talks about bringing back the international champ back to the Don Callis champ, but first they have some business to attend regarding Forbidden Door. They get one person who will not join Mark Briscoe, and that's Tomohiro Ishii, as the Mark's friend congregation laid out the floor. Pair joke about Briscoe not being able to find friends for his big tag match for walking away. Up next, we hear from the Dogs. Commercial break. Backstage, Tommaso Ciampa admits that he doesn't need a list off 104 reasons why he hates Chris Jericho. He just needs one. He talks about Jericho. He looked up and he got into the business, contrasting it with the Jericho he shared with the ring last week. With the jokes and everything else. If he's going to bring that Jericho here, he's stay out of this world. But if Jericho thinks he's got it, he thinks Ciampa is worthy, go ahead. The ball's in your court. Don't drop it. He shoves his chair away before walking off. Back at ringside, the Dog's music hits, and before we cut off backstage, where Cage and Cope blindside them who attacked them a few weeks ago. They bring the Dogs into the ring, setting a cause for a spear before he finally brings them out of harm's way. They escape through the crowd, and guessing we won't hear from the Dogs after all. Cage grabs the microphone talking about their win at Double or Nothing. People are probably expecting Christian to have something to say about certain family members, but he can't believe there's a tag team named after their own mothers. He says then something relating to Finley's father. I'm not sure. Just read this recap. Sorry. Cope takes the mic to say he understands why the Dogs attacked him and they were doing the 5-second poses. They're a chance from 30 years ago. He promises that he and Cage will understand their old man's strength and grumpiness, and send the Dogs back at the forbidden door as housebroken little pups. With a challenge laid out for the upcoming pay-per-view, commentary runs down other matches except for Forbidden Door before we go to some words from Starlight Kids starting ahead of that match against Thekla for the AEW World Championship, Women's World Championship. Thekla responds by addressing her submitted German stardom, ending her being kicked out of the company. She says Tony Khan's favorite but non-AEW wrestler may be Starlight Kid. But the champ doesn't care about being anyone's favorite. She needs the title. She promised to take it off Kid's mask and spit all over, but because this is his side of Forbidden Door, I think it runs this place. Commercial break. Backstage, Brodeo talked about their win-meet moments go before Bandito starts to lay out a challenge John Moxley's Continental Championship. They're interrupted by the Death Riders, with Moxley ultimately accepting that the challenge that he acknowledges Bandito shooting a shot with that. Dynamite rolls on. Backstage, Rodeo talk about their win moments for Benito starts to lay out a challenge for John Moxley's Continental Championship. They're interrupted by the Death Riders, with John Moxley ultimately accepting that challenge, and he acknowledges Benito shooting a shot with that Dynamite rolls on. Back at ringside, Mercedes Moné make her entrance for our next match. She shows off the Owen Hart tournament belt. She is basically defending this year's tournament. Out next is Hazuki, supporting some gold of her own with the Spark Josie World Championship as she comes in the ring to get this match underway. Women's Owen Hart Tournament semifinal: Mercedes Moné versus Hazuki. The two lock up before Moné takes Hazuki to the mat. She brings up Hazuki back up to the ropes, only for Hazuki to fight back from the corner. Mercedes lands on the arm drag for a near fall. For Hazuki counters for a 2 count of wrong. She sends Moné into the ropes, stopping way before CO escapes in the ring to evade a running kick. She walks up the ramp to look at the Owen Hart Cup, looking to get it back this year before heading back into the ring, where she gets taken down with a head scissors by Hazuki. This forces CEO to leave the ring to take solace into presence to the trophy once more as we head to an ad break. Ad break on HBO Max. Back from break, Mercedes catches her opponent with a lung blower, but only gets a 2 count before Hazuki manages to get out of the ring. Moné follows her to the outside, laying out Hazuki before bringing her back into the ring for a near fall. She pulls Hazuki up for a snapmare, and doing that 2 more times, only for good measure, before driving her to the boot in the face against the ropes, followed by a running meteor, pulling her in for a cover and a 2 count. She kicks away at Hazuki before sending her to the ropes, only for Hazuki to drop her to the floor for a dive twice over, sending her for a CO into the barricade each time. She does one more dive, sending her to the former TBS champion down high to the floor. Hazuki brings Moné back into the ring, going up for a missed drop kick, covered by Hazuki gets a 2. She transitions to a crossface. Moné tries to counter once, but Hazuki rolls through for the CO, manages to get a foot on the ropes to force the break. Mercedes starts to fight back, setting for a two vertical suplex, but there will be no third Migo, as Hazuki blocks the final suplex, only to be dropped to the mat. She rolls the ramp outside as Moné lands on a meteor, sending Hazuki down as we go to a high break. Actually, ad break HBO Max. Both women are in the ring as we come back. With Hazuki firing back with some shots on Moné in the corner, she backs off just enough at the charge at the CO, landing a long blower and sends Mercedes to the mat. She goes to the top for a senton, landing a flush as in a sit down. She goes for a cover, but only gets a 2. Once again, she goes for a submission, only for Moné to counter for a near fall to break the hold. She has control of the wrist as she has Suzuki trade strikes on the mat. She wins out as we goes back to her feet, keeping last year's own winners down with a pump kick. She falls to the mat as well. The ref starts standing count as women struggle to get back up using the ropes for leverage. Hazuki intercepts a charging Monet with a DT followed by a hook and kick, but the cover only gets her 2. Brainbuster connects, but Mercedes rolls out of the ring to escape whatever she might come next. Hazuki follows close behind to bring the CEO back into the ring, but Monet goes for another lum blow. Only for Hazuki to counter for a near fall. They trade near falls before Mercedes gets back to her feet, snapping Hazuki down for a statement maker. Before Hazuki manages to roll through, getting a cradle for a 2 count. Mercedes brings her back up, looking for a moneymaker, but Hazuki counters out for a near fall. Cazadora gets countered by a CEO who rolls through to trap Hazuki in the statement maker, and there is nowhere for Hazuki as she goes for Hazuki to go as she taps out. Winner via submission, Vincent finals Mercedes Monet. Mercedes celebrates as we go to video package, hyping up the other semifinal match setting for its collision as Maya World takes on Athena to see who faces Monet at the Forbidden Door. We head back to ringside as Tony Schiavone talks about the men's finals set for a week from Sunday before introducing Will Ospreay to the ring first. He congratulates Will on getting married and acknowledges him coming straight here for tonight. With Ospreay admitting that she should have been on honeymoon right now, but his wife should have stayed focused, and we can go to Hawaii anytime you like. He talks about how what he did to making up to his wife. Tony coming down from the shot with Ospreay to introduces his opponent for Forbidden Door next. Out comes Swerve Strickland and Prince now with the latter telling Tony his suit is too tight before telling him to get out of the ring. Swerve takes the mic saying that there's something different about Ospreay. He notes that there hasn't gotten any takes back from him in months. Ospreay addresses possible challenges. Ospreay addresses possible changes, including his hair being more under control now. He also sees a difference in Swerve in the way he's looking, he's looking at Will right now. Swerve changes the subject to the John Moxley and the Death Riders, to which Will Ospreay officers talk about. He had to let things go in spite of what Moxley did to him last year at Forbidden Door in London, remembering everyone who tried to come to his aid when his neck was nearly snapped. But everyone but Swerve Strickland. He then looks back at All In Texas, where the two of them worked together to take down the Young Bucks, before asking why Swerve Strickland didn't come to help when he needed it the most, before knocking the mic out of Strickland's hand, saying he doesn't actually want an answer from him. He talks about how much the world title means to him, especially with the shot possibly coming at Wembley Stadium. He remembers all his friends at school having the dream of scoring the winning goal at Wembley Stadium, while everyone else was talking about the Owen Hart Cup final. For Ospreay, this is the semi-final of his Swerve Cup. Swerve cuts him off by taking his mic, saying that the dream won't happen if he gets there first, rolling him down with all the chat about being Heyman Page's last time last year. Where's Heyman now? Swerve continues running Ospreay down with making some remarks that get muted out of the feed for a moment. Strickland points out that the Will Ospreay has not been able to beat Strickland. Ospreay has a tidal wave of his popularity in 2024. So when Swerve beats him and goes to win a world title for a second time, he'll look to just beat Will over and over again, especially his fragile little neck. This riles Ospreay to get to the point where he knocks his mic away, sending Strickland to the mat. Swerve heads to the corner where Nana hands him a steel chain before the Death Riders come out to the ring. Strickland takes the mic back, saying Will is wrong. He has changed. He leaves the ring with Nana as Ospreay's music hits, as we cut backstage where Jericho calls Ciampa out face to face of their own for Collision. Walks off as we go to a commercial break. Head back. We head back to ringside as more Jack Streaming and Don Cass from me head down for our main event. We found out per Tony Khan that if either team gets disqualified in this match, he will lose a man advantage at Forbidden Door. Backstage, we hear from Mike Briscoe and his congregation pals. Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roddy Strong, as Briscoe reveals his team, confirms that after Procada attacked earlier tonight, Tomohiro Ishii will be back and they will avenge him. In the meantime, Briscoe reveals that in addition that his buddies there, they got two other guys who they have heat with. Who have heat with the family, Kazuki Takashita and Darby Allin. With that, we head to ringside as the team makes its entrance as this commercial break, as we have ourselves a riot of a main event. Commercial break. We're back. We get this match underway. 12-man tag team match. Team in Warren Jackass Freeman, Kevin Knight, Kyle Fletcher, Jake Doyle, Kazuki Okada, and Andrade El Diablo versus Team Briscoe. Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, Roddy Strong, Kazuki Takashi, and Darby Allin. We start off with Warren Jackass Freeman and Mark Briscoe, or maybe not brother, as Warren Jackass Freeman tags in Andrade right away. He takes Briscoe down hard before leaving the ring, looking to pose with a fan for a selfie, but Mark catches him with a dropkick before bringing LDL back in the ring. Mind punches in the corner by Briscoe and tags in Cassidy and to Cassidy to land one last shot, only to be taken to the mat by Andrade. Orange retires by pulling the pants of Andrade, but he cuts him off before finishing off the job himself. Tag made to Kyle Fletcher, and Kyle O'Reilly tags in as well as we get as it tags in as we go as well as we get a rematch of Kyle's. Let's go Kyle chant as a two lockup trading defense as Kyle O'Reilly goes for a double wrist lock before Fletcher escapes. O'Reilly with a takedown spinning around on the back before the Fletcher gets back to his feet. O'Reilly with a kick to the kick to take Fletcher down before Darby gets a tag in, and here we are. Everyone goes at it in the ring. Chaos ensues with 12 Angry Men, the majority of really good movie by the way, 12 Angry Men, the majority of whom to take the fight out of the ring as we see Darby land a coffin drop followed by a Takashi dive. Things settle down with Darby and Warren Jacobs standing off the ring, only for Knight to blindside Darby. Fletcher goes on the attack for a bit before Kevin argues with him about who wants to beat up Allen. This continues as we get a tag made right as we go to an ad break. Ad break on HBO Max. Back from break, Fletcher slays into Cassidy before setting him up for an attack from Doyle. Warren Jacobs Freeman tags in to get to the scratch looking to do the same thing, but Jake ends up attacking the arm of the world champion instead. Warren Jacobs Freeman has that with Doyle as Roderick Strong gets the tag, laying out backbreakers of plenty. Doyle gets the tag in, midst of all this, and takes a chop from Strong, but is also stepping on Roddy's foot to keep him from going anywhere. Sean fires back with a chop to break free, landing a suplex to take Doyle to the mat. Jake gets back up and lands on a shoulder breaker on Strong, only for O'Reilly to charge in for an assist. Lands some hard shots on Doyle as Andrade rushes in, taking him out. Meanwhile, Darby comes in to go after El Diablo, but is taken down by Knight before Takashi comes in. Fletcher tries to set him up for Okada, but Okada get laid out before Takashi drops Fletcher to the mat with Blue Thunder Bomb. Warren Jacobs Freeman gets the tag, but so does Mark Briscoe before anything can happen. Knight goes after Briscoe only to take a right hand he sends back to the rest of the family before setting up a Dre Driller on the world champ, but he blocks it long enough for Knight to get involved before Darby comes running in for the save. He goes after Kevin as they leave the ring, taking said fight to the stage before Doyle traps Darby and says him and crashing in the ring into the post nearby. Back in the ring, Briscoe breaks free from a heat seeker before dropping the champ for Dre Driller. He goes for cover, but Don Callis comes running down on the champ, distract the ref, forcing Jay to break the pin, deal with Don, who runs away. He pulls Warren Jacobs to the middle of the ring for a froggy ball, but gets knocked down by Fletcher as Strong makes a tag. He goes for a heartache on champ, but Warren Jacobs comes into the salt of the earth, forcing Roddy to tap out. Winners via submission, Team Warren Jacobs Freeman. The bad is to continue to beat down after the match, laying in some major damage. Mark Briscoe and his pals in the process. Andrade refuses to do it. Warren Jacobs says before Callis assures that he'll still Tile shot down. Tile shut down on line. Eventually, Andrade holds up Briscoe as Moore Jackets treatment Texan with the diamond in the ring. Commentary talks about what's going down, including Team Moore Jackets treatment stand tall to bring Dynamite to a close. This is a bad show. It's a bad show tonight. Very bad show on this terrible passing of Deadly Chase from the ring and yeah, from Lilo and Stitch in the ring. Terrible way to start off this night. Well, that'll do. Now you know what it's time for. It's time for my wrestling history and birthdays. Go to yesterday, June the 16th. Yesterday would have been happy. '67th birthday to the WWE Hall of Famer, the late Ultimate Warrior. One of my favorites growing up. I miss him. The Sandman from ECW. He turned 63 yesterday. Razar Razar, the tag team after this pain, he turned 32 yesterday. Paul Jones, late Paul Jones, wrestling legend Paul Jones, he would have been 84. He died on April 18, 2018. He died in Atlanta, Georgia. He wrestled in NWA in the World Wrestling Federation, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, and Mid-Atlantic Championship. Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. Still alive. See what else? See WWF Primetime Wrestling hosted by Primetime Wrestling hosted by Gorilla Monsoon, late Gorilla Monsoon, late Bobby the Brain Heenan. Took place at Boston Garden, Massachusetts. Show highlights, matches: Bret Hitman Hart defeating Sifiafi, Jim the Animal Neidhart defeated Lanny Poffo, Iron Mike Sharp defeated Tony Gurria, Hercules Hernandez defeated Scott McGee, Big John Studd defeated Bobby Brain Heenan, defeated Jim Powers and Rick Hunter in 2-on-1 handicap 15,000,000 body slam challenge match. Danny Spider, David Boy Smith, and Pedro Morales defeated Johnny V and Dream Team. Bruce Barber, Beefcake, and Gravity Hammer Valentine. And David Boy Smith, British Bulldog. Yeah. June 16th, 1986, the NBA Finals. The Chicago Bulls beat the Supersonics, become NBA champions. 87, beat them 87-75. Yeah, Chicago Bulls won the World Series 4 games to 2 on Father's Day. This will be the last time Sonics played in the finals before relocating to Oklahoma to be Oklahoma to be renamed the Thunder. Yeah, I missed that team name, Seattle Supersonics. Let's see. WCW main event. Leading up before the Great American Bash '96. Rocco Rock defeated Jerry Saggs. Michael Wall Street, some of you know, was Iron Shyster from WWE. Defeated Jim Powers, and Hexon Jr. defeated Disco Inferno. And the pay-per-view that started off was the Great American Bash in '96. They premiered. It took place in Baltimore Arena. Baltimore, Maryland. Attendance was 9,000 in attendance. It was the fifth Great American Bash held at this venue since after 88, 89, and 90, 91 events. First match was an opening contest was the Steiner brothers facing off against Fire and Ice, which they defeated them. Steiner brothers hit Frankenstein followed by a bulldog to enable Scott to pick up the pinfall victory on Norton. The second match was for the WCW US Heavyweight Championship. This match saw Conan retaining the title by defeating El Gato after hitting with a spine buster. The next match saw DDP defeat Marcus Alexander Bagwell. Bagwell went after for a fisherman suplex that Page countered into a diamond cutter. During the next match, WCW Cruiserweight Championship Dean Malenko retained his title against debuting Rey Mysterio. He recently was in ACW. When Mysterio went for a Hurricanrana, Dean Malenko countered into a powerbomb and used the middle rope for leverage to pick up pinfall victory. Next match saw John Tenta, John Tenta defeating the late Bubba Rogers, some of you know as Big Boss Man. John Tenta was known as Earthquake in WWE, Avalanche in WCW, and the Shark in WCW. Yeah, known as the Big Boss Man in the Boston, Big Boss Man in WWE, and in the Boston WCW, and Guardian Angel in WCW. After Rogers attempted to hit Tenta off the top rope, Tenta powerbomb Bubba and covered him for the win. After the match, Tenta cut Rogers' goatee off with a pair of scissors. And then yeah, after the match, Rogers attempted to hit Tenta with a top rope powerbomb bubble to cover him for the win. After the match, Tenta cut Rogers' goatee off with a pair of scissors. The next match is Falls Count Anywhere match between Chris Benoit and Kevin Sullivan and Taskmaster. The match ended with Benoit suplex Sullivan from the table. They had been set up on the ropes in the corner. At the match, Arn Anderson came to the ring to help Benoit attack Sullivan. It was like somewhat of a double turn here. Sullivan was the face, Benoit was the heel. Sting next took on Lord Steven Regal and picked up victory via submission of the Scorpion Deathlock. After this match, an announcement was made that Macho Man Randy Savage was reinstated into WCW and would return the next time on Monday Nitro. The second last match was a World Tag Team match between Ric Flair and Arn Anderson against Kevin Green and Steve Mongo McMichael. While Flair had the figure 4 leg lock on Green, his partner Mongo McMichael turned his back on him and hit him with a briefcase full of money, which enables Flair to pin Green. Darren McMichael had chased woman Elizabeth to the back, only to return the briefcase containing money and the 4 Horsemen t-shirt. After the match, McMichael put on the 4 Horsemen t-shirt and eventually joined the group, giving Brian Pillman a start in the 4 Horsemen. And the Horsemen. Benoit then came out, and the Horsemen attacked Green and Savage. Bischoff interviewed Kevin Nash. And Scott Hall. After the interview, Nash and Hall powerbombed Bischoff through the table. If they've forgotten, and no, I'll say Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, they've forgotten that they were in WCW. I know some of you, I feel like I know some of you think they're kind of like hypocrites because they were WCW. Eric Bischoff brought they brought him to WCW. I mean Scott Hall and Kevin Nash weren't in WCW. I mean, Kevin Nash was Oz and Vinny Vegas, and Scott Hall was the Diamond Stud, and DDP brought him in the business, WCW. But they left WCW to jump ship to the World Wrestling Federation, which is now called WWE, which stands for the World Wrestling Federation. And Scott Hall had to become Razor Ramon, and Kevin Nash had become Big Daddy Cool Diesel. The main event was for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Saw the Giant retain his title against Lex Luger. During the match, Jimmy Hart uses his megaphone as a weapon on Luger, which brought Sting, who chased Hart out of the back. The match ended when Luger attempted to use a torture rack. However, he was unable to support him and collapsed. Giant used this opening to choke slam Luger to pick up the victory. Then see what else? 2006. And WWE Velocity. Yeah, that's right. There was no WWE Velocity because they canceled it because replaced the ECW, new show ECW on Sci-Fi. That's right. Let's see. Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch defeated Jonathan McCulling and Scott Fowler. Victoria defeated Mercedes Martinez. Wow. Before she came in TNA. Wow. Max Striker defeated Tim Arnson. Gene Snitsky defeated Rob Conway. Let's see what else. Friday Night SmackDown. Yeah, Rey Mysterio defeated Gregory Helms. Mr. Kennedy defeated Nick Burke. Great Khali with Daivari defeated Mexico. Psychosis and Sucrace in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Finley defeated Finley and Ryu defeated Gunner Scott and Matt Hardy. Beetle defeated Scott Wright. And Bobby Lashley defeated King Booker with Sharmell. And we'll see a backstage segment with Ashley and Michelle McCool. What else? 2016. Friday Night SmackDown on SmackDown. Wait a minute. Oh, pop culture couple movies released in theaters. Nacho Libre, starring Jack Black, was released in theaters June 16th, 2006. Garfield: A Tale of Two Kids was released. And Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift was released in theaters, starring Lucas Black and Lil Bow Wow. And Lake House starring Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. And a movie called Loverboy, an American a movie called Loverboy was released, starring Kevin Bacon. Starring Kevin Bacon, Marissa Tomei, Matt Dillon, Kira Sedgwick. Kevin Bacon directed that movie, by the way. Oh, and Chrissy Teigen was in that in Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Yeah, that's right. Hold on a second. See what else. 2016 SmackDown. Kofi Kingston, Miggy, Xavier Woods defeated Ian English and Simon Gotch Big Cass with Enzo and Moore and Luke Gallows. Carl Anderson, Baron Corbin defeated Zack Ryder. Rusev Bulan versus Kalisto in a no contest. AJ Styles defeated Xavier Woods by submission. Charlotte with Dana Brooke defeated Natalya. Becky Lynch by submission. Star defeated Dean Ambrose, and Sami Zayn defeated Alberto Del Rio, Chris Jericho, and Kevin Owens. Oh, and below pop culture, another movie was released in theaters the same day, June 16th, 1976. June 16th, 1976. Silent movie starring a little parody movie of the 1920s film starring Mel Brooks. Now let's go to the next date. Today, June 17th. Let's see. Aaron Murphy appeared on actress child, probably like a song like a child. Aaron Murphy played on Hulk Hogan Celebrity Championship where she turned 66 yesterday. Wait, 60. Wait, 60. Hold on. 62 yesterday. Yeah, on Clarence Mason, former WWE manager, he turned 66 yesterday. Will Forte, he turns, who made a WWE appearance. He turned 56 yesterday. He's like a comedian from Saturday Night Live. And some wrestling history today. On Monday Night Wars between WWE and WCW Monday Nitro on Raw, just hours before the King of the Ring. Stone Cold Steve Austin defeated Savio Vega in the King of the Ring quarterfinals. After the bout, Stone Cold Steve Austin joined the commentary team for the next match. The match was the debut of the Stone Cold Stunner. Oh, this was the debut of Stone Cold Stunner. Yeah, June 17, 1996. King of the Ring quarterfinals. Wine Man Mark Merrill was able to defeat Owen Hart after the bout. As Merrill opened the wars for Owen to leave, Owen hit Merrill with a cast on his arm, knocking him out of the apron to the floor and knocking him out with a second blow. Triple H fought, although returning to no contest when Jerry King Lawler was anxious to show off his tactics, and he planned to use the Ultimate Warrior at the King of the Ring. Also attacked Oliver before Helmsley made his entrance. Almost thereafter, Montoya used his Sting Power Driver. Jake the Snake Roberts came out to make the save. Jake the Snake Roberts defeated Intercontinental Champion Goldust Romero via decision. Goldust had won the match via pinfall after throwing gold flakes into Roberts' eyes, but the referee held her whipping to change the call after seeing the substance on Jake's face after the match. Almost after Jake hit the DDT on the Intercontinental Champion. And Betchy Ahmed Johnson was drafting that after he kissed after that CPR, after that mouth to mouth thing he did. And that was known as not CPR, that was just a mind game. Ahmed Johnson. This also included Brian Pillman's WWE contract signing, the late Brian Pillman. Featured footage from a recent house show in which Gene Ross was interviewing the British Brawl David Boy Smith in the ring before Shawn Michaels came out. It had to be held apart by two officials and fellow wrestlers, including the closing segment in which Jim Cornette announced that the special referee for the King of the Ring for the world title match will be Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. Wow. This took place at the Cumberland Memorial Auditorium in Lafayette, North Carolina. Okay, it's 12:01 right now, June 18th, 2026. Columbia County Memorial Auditorium in Lafayette, Fayette, North Carolina. Monday Night Show was held in Richmond Coliseum in Richmond, Virginia. Rick Steiner defeated Stevie Ray. Joe Guns defeated Disco Inferno. Four Horsemen, Arn Anderson and Chris Benoit defeated the American Males. John Tenta defeated Big Bubba. Ric Flair, Deborah McMahon, Miss Elizabeth, and Woman defeated Macho Man Randy Savage. Dean Malenko defeated Rey Mysterio, retaining WWE World Cruiserweight title. And Jimmy Hart and the Giant, with Jimmy Hart defeated Scott Steiner, retaining the WWE World Heavyweight title. And Steve Montgomery and Michael he was asked why there was answers to why he did what he did. It took place at Richmond Coliseum night. This was the night after the Great American Bash. Let's see. Oh, that was done to see 2007. Yeah, June 16, 2016, Game 60 NBA Finals. Cleveland Cavaliers to beat the Golden State Warriors 115 to 101. What else? What else? Doing June. See, 2006, 2000, anything for 2006. Yeah, 2006, June 17th, 2006, a birthday. I lost one of my favorite South Florida weatherman. His name is Bob Weedy. He died at the age of it's probably like 70. He was 77 years old. Yeah, South Florida weatherman Bob Weaver. I grew up watching. I miss him. It's the 20th anniversary of his passing yesterday. And yesterday, and for those you know, I heard heard me play the theme song "Perfect Strangers." Yesterday was a happy 72nd birthday actor Mark Lynn Baker. He played Larry from Perfect Strangers. All of you heard me play the thing from Perfect Strangers earlier. About 2 hours ago. And see what else. 2016. Let's see. Try to see 2016 pop culture. June 17th, a couple movies released in theaters. Finding Dory sequel to 2003's Finding Nemo was released in theaters. And Central Intelligence, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and funny man Kevin Hart, was released in theaters. The supporting cast in Finding Dory was Ellen DeGeneres reprised the role. Al Brooks reprised the role. Elle O'Neal was supporting cast moved from Married with Children and Modern Family. And Ty Burrell, his his buddy Ty Burrell was the supporting cast moved from his Modern Family buddy. And Eugene Levy was in this movie, and the late Diane Keaton was in this movie. See what else. See if I got everything. Yeah, I think I got that all covered. Well, that'll do it for my show this evening. Wow, I mean, time really goes fast. So hope I have a good morning to midnight. So the Godfather Soldier Slim is a late chair and shot said the dress for Chudrick and that's on Lynch and just like James Brown. I didn't get in a hot tub, gonna be sweat, gonna be dry, gonna be wet. Furniture A Murphy do impression James Brown saying I have never grew up in this group nice by side real old school sound when I was little. So I hope I have a good night. Have a good morning. It's midnight. I'm out here. Peace.